Hey guys, today we are visiting the site of Chichen Itza, one of the official 7 wonders of the world. And behind me you have El Castillo de Yucatan, which is the castle of Kukulkan, and it is one of the most impressive sites that you can see on the Yucatan Peninsula, if not the entire world. So behind me you have the castle of Kukulkan, one of the main temples here in Chichen Itza, and obviously one of the main attractions. But Chichen Itza is so much more than this single gorgeous, beautiful, marvelous, majestic pyramid. It was a city in its own right, filled with tens of thousands of people who lived and had social lives here, were at different places of socio-economic, like of a socio-economic pyramid. And there are just so many other temples and palaces and barracks and structures that really show like the scale of what the ancient ITZÁ people, one of the different Mayan clans, created here, and just all the work and love that they put into building this majestic city that we now have the privilege to visit. So join us on our adventure as we take you through this site, and hopefully we can tempt you into coming here yourselves. So let's go. So here we are at the ball court of Chichen Itza, where the ancient Maya would have been playing the sacred ball game called Poc Tapoc in the Mayan language. So this has got to be the biggest ball court in the entire Mesoamerican region, and it would have been an important ceremonial site, as the ball game had like a significant religious significance to the Mayans. It represented life, death, and like all these different religious aspects that they wanted to celebrate. So it was played by having the ball made of solid rubber, which would have been like heavy, like almost like a cannonball, just bounced off of your hips, and having to go through those big hoops up there. And it would have been closely related to sacrifice. So the winning, or I don't remember if it's the winning or the losing team, would have been sacrificed.
Winning.
The winning team would have been sacrificed. And you can actually see the representation of it in those beautiful motifs that we have here in the background. Interesting, but deadly game. Super interesting, isn't it?
It is. I'm trying to kind of make heads or tails of the actual.
Well, I think that might.
Being represented.
I think that might be the ball with the skull,
Oh, okay.
the breath leaving it.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So was that how they executed the person? They beheaded them?
Yep. Crazy way to go.
If you gotta go, that's not the way to do it.
It's just so big. It's just so like such a big like space. I mean, it's like a small like soccer field.
So I was trying to listen to the other tour guide to kind of get the scoop, just sort of scoot up and like try to listen. And they were saying that the bleachers would be set up somewhere, but I wasn't catching where. Did you have a sense of like where the spectators would be?
Yeah, I mean
like
like
at the very top,
up there.
there'd be like seating.
Yeah, and I mean
Okay.
there's a temple up here, so that's where I think the dignitaries would have been. Chichen Itza provides amazing opportunities for doing travel photography. It pays to look for interesting angles from which to interpret the site, and also to peek at the hidden details around you which you would otherwise miss. I have always just been so impressed with the level of detail of that Mayans would put on their temples. It's just so beautiful. I mean the amount of carving that had to like go on here just to have feel the interior, the roof. I mean these columns with the amount with just the reliefs that they have and then painting them over. I mean, it would be just an impressive sight where we only see stone right now. It's pretty incredible. And I mean, this is just kind of something that you have to like be here, just kind of take your time to like really take a look and really see what was going on here and just try to imagine how it would have looked. It's just an interesting like historical like mind exercise. I think you'll make a lovely sacrifice to the gods.
Oh, you think so?
No, so?
How's my head looking today? Ready to be chopped?
No, thanks. So right behind me here, this platform filled with skull motifs would have been the Zompantli. The Zompantlis were like places where you would exhibit the skulls of sacrificed prisoners or enemies. So right behind here would have been like this frightful just display of severed human heads. I mean, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do when you're a Mayan king.
Como el mismo personaje que vimos allá en el campo de pelota. Vean lo que sostiene en las manos.
So we're at the Gran Cenote here in Chichen Itza. This underground lake that is fed by all these underground rivers would have been the only freshwater source for the whole city, because there are no rivers in Yucatan, they're all underground. So when these rivers start eroding like the top of caves, the caves that they flow through, they end up falling and forming these amazing sinkholes and just filling up with water, and that's how these cenotes form. So the ancient peoples would have considered this a portal to the to the underworld. So green jade is associated with both life and death, because the waters down here, I don't know if you can see it from here, but they're very green. So it's like this portal between our world, the life of greenery and what we see here, and the underworld, which would be past this portal. So people would be clubbed and thrown into the cenote or sacrificed here, depending on like different like rituals or petitions that they would have. But they're considered sacred sites, and offerings would be made all the time and deposited in them. These have actually been explored by divers, and they found like tons and tons of artifacts. I mean, just a really interesting place to see, you know. It's a huge site.
Yeah, it is a huge site. It's really, really cool. I mean, I'm one of these people that didn't really know a lot about this place at all. I mean, I'd always heard of it, but have never, like, didn't know what to expect. It's awesome. Definitely worth it. One of the 7 wonders of the world.
It can get pretty crowded in Chichen Itza. I recommend getting to the site early in order to get the best views and the best possible lighting, as well as escaping the worst of the heat. I mean, it's a huge site. It would have been like tens of thousands. Huge city. I mean, so right behind us, this used to be another pyramid. This is how, like, archaeologists would originally find like all these ancient structures before restoration, and until they put in like a ton of work, are we able to see them like what we were seeing a little before. But sometimes these get confused as hills in the middle of the jungle. Only there are no real hills in the Yucatan, so they're just clearly pyramids. And then once they're excavated, they just start finding all these different archaeological records, and then they figure out how to put it all back together. It's like a puzzle. It's fascinating.
Saying I wish I could just do like a quantum leap, like that old TV show, and just quantum leap back into time and like just for a few minutes see this as like a working civilization. Because it's one thing to see ruins, maybe not everyone feels this way, but I just have a hard time conceptualizing. Like my brain can't get that this was a real like thriving city, you know what I mean? So I wish I could just leap back and
just see like
see
life spring from like the stones. Yeah.
Just like really get it.
Found this cool little house. It's a traditional palm thatched hut. Take a little look inside here. So these houses are designed to be very high, to keep it very cool in like the 40 degrees, 45 degrees Celsius that it can very often make here. And if this were the kitchen, the smoke from the fire would rise up to the roof and actually cauterize the top of the roof and make it waterproof. So, I mean, it is such a different temperature. You can't tell, but it is such a temperature difference between the outside and inside, and it's not even a hot day. So yeah, I mean, just, you know, not everything has to be concrete and like modern technologies. Some of these technologies have worked just fine for thousands of years. Just feels very grounding, very earthy. I love it. Just the motifs on some of these buildings have been so well preserved. It is just incredible to see and be kind of able to imagine how they would have looked back in the day. I mean, just look at the level of detail on these. Incredible. Oh, so after a long, arduous day of exploring these ruins, just getting a feeling for like what life would have been here more than 1,000 years ago. I mean, we're ready to go. We've put in like maybe 10,000 steps today. Like just in the site, we haven't eaten or had breakfast. We just had some pistachios, and that's all we had. So we are looking forward to having some good old Yucatec food and maybe a beer or something. I don't know. How are you feeling after like just all of today?
I'm hungry. We don't plan very well, so we don't eat. We don't.
Well, it's hard to
We
plan.
did bring water, which was amazing that we thought to do that.
We don't plan very well because we don't plan at all. That's how we roll.
But I will say that someone just called Miguel Mr. Whiskers, so it's all worth it.
It's something you call a cat. I'm more of like a dog or a monkey. I don't know, anything but a cat.
Mr. Whiskers.
I'm definitely not Mr. Whiskers. This is a beard. It's not whiskers. Get over it. So that's pretty much it. We hope you really enjoyed this video and our exploration of this amazing Mayan site. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and like it, and subscribe to our channel. It keeps us growing and sharing some of these amazing sites and stories of peoples old and new from all around the world. So remember to subscribe, and it'll really help us if you can share this with a friend or somebody who you feel is interested. And just remember to have safe travels and keep on rambling and roving.